right, it's now time for raising funds for World Domination, day 114. So once again, here's the standard intro. No updates on the renovation situation. I guess that's next hearing is getting down to about six or 7 weeks out now. And as usual, we'll be continuing with working toward getting to the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. Today, I continued working on one graphic for the next video. And that's the only thing I did today. So tonight we'll continue with, I think I could probably say that I've finished the refactoring work for multi-column character supports in the test. Now I just need to make it actually work. I guess I should probably so once I have it working, then I'm actually gonna rename that function and swap it so that all implementations of the merge changes all use the same function. And that'll let me delete some code. SLP DLR says, hi, I'm eating ice cream. Excellent. Ice cream is delicious. Yeah, so I guess we'll continue on with that. Favorite ice cream flavor? I like coffee ice cream. That's pretty good. Mocha fudge is also a pretty good flavor. Matcha? That's at the... There's some kind of like... It's not pecan, it's... Is that the like weird nut flavored one, or... I'm eating coffee ice cream. Nice. The best kind. Alright, implementation works. Need to be careful with brain freeze. Last time I ran across my house. Ran across my house to cover my head in it. In what? In ice cream? Oh, with a blanket? Yeah, you know, I've always heard people talk about brain freeze, but it's never been a huge issue for me when eating ice cream. You gotta savor the taste more. That'll decrease your consumption rate. I'm a fast eater. You gotta slow down and savor it. That's what ice cream's all about. Alright, so I need a function to make sure that I can actually put a character in here of this width. I think I've eaten a Big Mac in 2 to 5 minutes. Yeah, there's I mentioned this. Probably competitive eating competitions where they've done it even faster. A lot of that fast food too is also getting, the portion sizes are getting small. I saw a GO train on Thursday. Since you're in Ontario, assuming you know what a GO train is. Yep. I immediately assumed something about your locality based on that. Are you also in Ontario? I'm actually not even sure if there are GO trains outside of Ontario. Yeah, the transit system here improved a lot since I first came up. When I first came up, it was the only way to get from. It might have just been due to my lack of knowledge on how to get around, but the only way I knew to get from when I first moved in 2009, the only way from public transit via public transit was to go from. I had to bus from the university down to Charles Street Terminal and then wait like an hour, stand up outside in a line for an hour to get the Greyhound bus, which was always late. TTC, yeah. When I went to the airport, I think there was like a faster way to go directly there, but because I was new to the city area, I actually I would usually just use the Greyhound bus, take the Greyhound bus to like I think Union Station, and then go from Union Station down to Kipling Station, I think, and then take the 200 airport rocket to get to the airport. Now it's a bit better. Well, I'd say it's quite a bit better with Go Bus. I like how the I mean, it sucks if you miss it, but I like how the Go Bus, it just like drives in really fast and opens the door and then just slams on the gas and then speeds out of there. Like there's no sitting around waiting for like an hour for people. Like the Greyhound was brutal for that. It was just waiting and waiting and waiting for the bus, and then it would always be like 20 minutes late, and then you get on the bus and you got to sit there for like an hour, and but now it's, you know, it's relatively I'd say it's relatively fast. The only complaint is it is to stop at like, unless you get the express one, it's to stop like 5,000 different like tiny little stations to like let one person on, and then it has to go all through the on ramps and off ramps and stuff. So it's like an extra 10 minutes just to like get off the highway and pick up one person. Actually, I think one of the most recent times I took a Go Bus, the door started falling off, and then like partway through the trip, the guy was like, well, we gotta let you all off here, and we gotta get on a new Go Bus because the door, or it wouldn't close or something. Sounds like a complicated trip. Yeah, I think I remember looking it up, and I think there was a better alternative, but it was more complicated, and it would have to like go through like I would have to take like 5,000 city bus transfers. So it's like, if I just go to Union, then I can, you know, if I miss a bus, there's more options. Whereas if I go to some random suburb and miss the bus or get lost, there's I'm far from anything. Problem is for transit, 4 trains go to Union, 4 trains come back. Night and for Via rails, even more strict. For Via, if you miss the 10 a.m. train, it's fine. You can wait for the 7. Yeah, there is Go service, Go train service from here in Kitchener, but I think it's only like the early bird, like work. I haven't checked it in a while, but I remember people have been requesting like all day Go service. Which they've been asking for that for a while. I don't know if there's actually plans to do it. I think there was some they said there was some issue with like a freight access or something. There's I think a freight train has like uses the same track during the day and it has priority access. So they gotta wait for that contract to expire. 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or something like that. I don't remember. CN uses the same track since CN owns the track Metrolix is using. Yeah. I think, last time I remember looking into this, I think it's supposed to expire in like around 2030 or something. Or sometime. They said sometime there was like a long time in the future, but time is flying by, so it'll be here soon. very good with trains. Go Transit and DTC. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of public transit enthusiasm here in Canada. There's I guess a surprisingly large number of YouTube channels on like public transit enthusiasm. Public transit's awesome when it works. I haven't really been on it at all in the last like 10 years or so. I know the TTC was always out of first service and stuff, and I remember one time I was trying to get to work when I worked right in downtown Toronto. On the way there, the subway, it would always, there was always people would jump in front of the tracks and shut down the entire subway system. That happened frequently. And they would come on the announcements and say like, sorry for that, we are experiencing a delay due to a personal injury at track level. That's how the announcement would come on. And then I remember one day something happened, something broke down, and then they're just like, all right, everybody get off the subway now. And this was at like Spadina or something. It was like but it was like around Bloor or something. So I had to walk. I can't remember all the street names, but I had to walk like a kilometer to work, along with like thousands of other people. I signed up for TTC e-alerts. Now you have 4,741 unread emails. Nice. Well, at least their alert system works. Feel bad for line 3 users now. Got discontinued due to too many crashes. Line 3 replacement buses. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember much for crashes. Like, you mean the subway itself was crashing, or is it is that one that went like above ground, or like it had a railway crossing or something? I remember we also had for the longest time, it was on the main line. There was a good like couple sections where you had to get off and then get on buses and then bus up a couple subway stops to get back on the subway again. I just realized this is going to be... That approach won't work. But there is an approach that will work. It's not a normal subway system. I think it's a monorail. Is it? I mean, you can see it, so it's technically... I don't remember it being a monorail anywhere. Decommissioning due to the line's age. Increasing maintenance difficulties. DTC board approved its decommissioning in 2023. Train derailment in July 2023 accelerated the closure, leading to the line being permanently closed. Nice. Yeah, hasn't there been like a talk of, I don't know, modernizing it or revamping it or like massively expanding it since like for the last 100 years or something? Matthew 2531 says, hello, I have a very good chance of being helpful if you briefly describe what you want. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean related to the coding, or? You're offering coding advice? I think I know the approach. I just gotta write it. I don't know. UD, not a matter of criticism. Assistance. Not sure. Very good. I'll move along. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. You're doing a lot of isolated sections by hand. In terms of the code, I'm not sure what you mean by isolated sections. These here are test cases, so they're not. They're kind of verbose. The goal of them is just to make them simple. Simple and easy to verify for correctness. Holy skib. Is line wrap enabled? I do have a lot of line wrapping in my code. That is a frequent thing that people point out. What am I watching? You are currently watching me write some test cases for my terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore in the terminal on Linux. Interesting, thank you. No problem. Daniel FF9BP says, "Hello, Robert. Hope you're doing great. If you had a choice, would you rather have a well-paying software engineering job or teach at a well-known university?" I probably would prefer to not have either of those positions. I guess honestly, there's kind of not enough information in that question. I think like a well-paying software job, like many years ago, like maybe, I don't know, 2005 or something, or I guess, well, the dot-com bubble crashed, and maybe a well-paying software job starting in the year 1989 going till 2001. That would have probably been a good role, or a good run. I would say teaching at a university these days, I don't think there's any university that I would want to be. I think there's a reckoning due that's going to happen soon in academia, and it's already kind of starting. What's the ideal age to get married? That's kind of a random question for this stream. I mean, if you meet someone you're compatible with, like if you found the perfect person, ideally you would do that as soon as possible in life. Like, you know, when you're a young adult, because then, like, there's just so many simple things. It'd be nice to just, like, when you have to move all your stuff, or like, you know, like there's so much complexity in life that is duplicated by the fact that people end up staying single for longer, like groceries, like you buying fresh food and then like having to throw it away, and then you know, like buying a car and stuff, like you could share a car with someone and share the expense, and you know, you only have one person in the relationship needs to renew the insurance instead of two people, you know, and the list goes on. And of course, housing, you can share rent costs. It's kind of amazing how if you're getting an apartment, like the cost difference between a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom is often like, it's only like a couple $100, but twice as many people can live there. How do I become comfortable about uncertainty in life like you? I don't know. I guess if you experience a lot of uncertainty, then eventually uncertainty becomes certainty, and you have to just wake up and adjust to the chaos of reality every single day. You just have to wake up and be like, all right, what kind of nonsense are we going to deal with today? I think the co-op program was that was, you know, exciting, stressful. Had to move to basically a different country every 4 months for 4 years and 8 months, or not necessarily always a different country, but trying to like let's see, first term. I guess it was about the first year I was in Waterloo. Then I went to Toronto for an internship, and then when the internship ended, I remember we had exactly a weekend. I had literally like Saturday and Sunday to move everything I own from Toronto back into residence. So I ended work on Friday and then started class on Monday. So having to deal with the logistics of stuff like that over a while makes you really adjust to things. And then also having to be nomadic for so many years means if you get rent evicted, you're like, oh, it's just like in co-op times, just gotta move to a new place. Any plans to make more eviction or life videos? It's on the to-do list. Right now so the last video was on like job reflection and analysis stuff. The next, I try not to talk too much about the videos I have in progress, just in case I get interrupted and not release them. But the next one, I'm intending to be. So I said in the last video, I'll probably do another video about the 5% who want to start a business, and this video will be. It's not quite like the format of the last one, but it's specifically targeted. So if you're like, I want to do a startup, it would be a relevant video for you. I have that video in the queue, and then I'm not sure. I may do another a video on another topic after that. But I think my next hearing date is like a month and a half away. So after the next eviction hearing, then I'll have more information to report on. Because as of today, there's not really a lot to report on. We had the last hearing, and then we're about to hear from another witness, and then and some of the a bunch of the tenants actually won their case on technicality. So there's a bunch of people in that group who I believe will get to stay. Although I think technically they could just refile the N13, but we'll see what happens. Hello once again. I notice a lot of tradesmen or artists will offer courses or teach someone. Is it harder to find clients to teach programming, like one-on-one or Zoom? Is it harder? This is a good question. I have actually had some people ask about it, if I do something like that. I haven't really. I guess I could think a bit more about that. It does seem like there might be some demand for it. But then again, there's only so many hours in the day. I tend to think about like what's going to be the biggest impact thing. So like if I make a video, like my, what should I do with my life video, I put a lot of work into that to try and explain it clearly. And every single hour it gets 10 views or something like that. So it's kind of like it's a distilled piece of communication, and people can watch it without my supervision. Whereas if I kind of organize something, but I don't know. Then again, I have thought there would always be maybe there would be what it almost seems like people need. It almost seems like people need like some kind of like job finding tribe, like people who are unemployed, who are like looking to get a job. It would be nice if you just had like a crew of people that you could check in with, or you could just like I don't know, have like a once a week meeting to like talk to other people who are going through the same job struggle. Be like, you could just exchange notes on like, here's where I'm looking for a job, and here's a trick on LinkedIn to apply to resume or apply to these jobs better or whatever, or just other people to relate to your situation, which is I guess not really relevant for me, but that almost seems like something that there would be a need for that, because that's a lot less motivating for people just sitting in your room by yourself every day, endlessly applying to jobs and getting auto rejected. Do you ever get lonely? That's such a random question that people ask. I don't think so. It'd be nice to have a better, more fulfilling social life, but that's not in the cards. The elites have decided that we will all rent apartments and spend all of our time on the internet, on social media, and pay lots of rent and be in debt forever. But I was able to escape that. Don't have any debt. Is it possible? It's not actually inserting any 2-column characters. Oh, that looks like one. Maybe it's working. I'm a data scientist, data scientist who has been trapped in the world of Python. Seeing Java in Vim again brings me joy. Excellent. I'm glad that I can bring people joy out there with these streams. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people that write Vim, that write Java in Vim. I started doing it because the IDE always takes so slow and it takes so much time to open. I do actually use, I guess the last time I really coded a lot was before this, working on this project was with Eclipse when I worked at Amazon, and then recently IntelliJ seems to be the main thing that people use. But I do use it for, it's still indispensable for debugging and like being able to step through stuff. I like programming, that it feels like a really hard video game. It can be addicting sometimes, painful, like a really hard boss level. Do you play video games? I like FPS, survival games. I actually try not to play video games, just because playing video games is not really very productive. And if you play a video game for 100 hours and I don't know, you don't really have much to show for it. I mean, other people get some achievement of it. I guess I got all that out of my system at a younger age. I played a lot of World of Warcraft and got to like max level 60s with a bunch of characters and max reputation and stuff. And then one day I was like, you know what, I should start leveling up my real life character. And yeah, so I guess in a way it was probably good to just burn myself out on that. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I think my opinion on like theory of addiction and stuff like that is basically like the people who are chronically addicted to bad stuff these days are the same people who, like, if you go back 2,000 years, they wake up every day and they're like, hey, I should get some stone blocks and build a castle, because they didn't have Minecraft back then. So the only way to build a castle was just to actually build a castle. And that's why we had so many castles back then. And nowadays nobody builds a castle except in Minecraft. What happened to the cat that used to be in your videos? It's actually not my cat, it's a family member's cat. He's doing okay. He continues to meow and purr. He's a good quality cat. He's not here anymore though. He's not in this apartment. He's still with us. That's supposed to be an underscore now. Oh, that's why. All right, my updated printing function is working. This is very cryptic, but for single column characters, it's just going to print the character. And then for multi-column characters, it'll print First, it just prints the character itself. It doesn't actually matter as far as this is concerned. So it'll just print the number, the first number. That's where the character starts. That's how wide it is. So it's a 2-column character, and then the underscore is a null. And the pound signs are just nulls that are off by themselves. Random unused regions. Now let's see if this will fail. Nice, no failures. All right, so far, so far so good. I expected to see even more failures by now. Now what if I do this? Wow, no failures. Frida La Jolla says, hey Robert, how's it going? That's not correct. Why is that messed up? Now this will probably have failures. All right. Active status, change flags, input layer, part separator. You ever feel like half the battle is deciphering what it's telling you? Also, is it not possible to change these terms into something basic? Not really. I wrote it to it makes sense to me. Like I could, if I refactored, if I spent, like, this is basically just test cases. So it's like when I get this, I know that the test case is wrong. So it's failing something. And because I know exactly what these means, because I invented them. So in the context of this, I'll explain these. So in the context of building the UI for the terminal-based game, the entire terminal area gets covered in characters. And the problem is to, I want to be able to separate the UI into like multiple layers. But a complexity of that is that there are characters that can take up multiple columns if you include emoji characters, and that makes it, you know, more complicated. So that's why I decided to go kind of overboard on this screen layer merging test case thing. So this here is a representation of like a screen, arbitrary screen layer. So it's a 10 by 10, or it's, yeah, 8 by 7 layer of just text, of arbitrary text. And the pound signs represent null, so there's no character there. And this one only has a couple characters, so there's just the character I by itself here at that position. Then there's the character character I in that position. And then the character G, and it's also a red G. And then up here there's no character here, but there is a background color, which is significant because in my algorithm, it means that if there was a character, if there was a solid character, like the character A or something in the layer above it, when it get merged down, it would inherit the color, the background color of whatever's below it. And in here, there's a 2-column character. So that's what's being represented here. And this is layer 1. And so this layer, this whatever's here is being merged down on top of this. And it's also a generic system, so I can have layers. The layers can be arbitrary sizes with arbitrary displacements in X and Y. So that's getting merged down into this. And you can see this 2-column character got merged. Oh, actually no, so this is what it was as input, and the output's not visible here. So yeah, for just this layer 1, top layer here, active states. So this is just a Boolean array for every single one of the column positions to indicate whether that column is active or not. So these columns here are active. The change flags, that's just a simple flag to hopefully speed things up so that when I iterate over this data structure, it just does like if changed. and then it does something. So I can just, so there's the changed regions and the changed flags are for like speeding things up. So for example, this here has a large change region here. If I go up to a smaller thing, okay, so here in this for this arbitrary change region, it's saying like this here is a Boolean array of like the entire screen, but it's saying only at x position 0 from 1 to 3. That's the only thing you evaluate. So the algorithm, when it goes through to update the screen, it only checks between y equals 1 and 3 and x equals 0. So it doesn't even do any logic on the other parts. Then the change flag. So there's actually no change flags in here. And for the active states, this red, I'm using that to indicate that this is totally deactive. The entire layer is deactive. So then what it'll do when it merges down is it just won't do anything. And this is kind of a weird example because it's got a really long skinny layer being merged down onto this layer, which is only one. It's 4 wide by 1 high, and there's nothing in here at the top. So it's a nonsensical example, but it's just basically fuzz testing. See if we can find an example of something interesting. So that character, I think, is getting cut off. And that's why it doesn't make it into that one. Yeah, I guess a lot of these examples are not by chance. It's just not actually doing anything. And the base layer is just unchanged. That's why I need to do so many fuzz tests, because a lot of the tests are like not actually testing anything. Yeah, I guess all these tests are like testing with empty layers. And the first test that failed was this one. So part of my just standard convention for how multi-column characters are represented is in the first column position where the multi-column character is, that's where the actual string of the character is stored, and then it remembers the character width. So in this case it's 3, so 1, 2, 3, so that's where the multi-column character would be. And the convention to validate correctly is I have stipulated that the active states and change flags for all three and also the color codes should be the same. So I guess that means they're different. it's actually not printing them. So I should Alright, so now it should actually print out the result. Okay, so here was the result. Oops. So we took that layer, merged it onto this layer, and the result was this. X equals 5, J equals 2, Y equals 2. That doesn't look inconsistent. Do you have a legend? How do you know what number 3 corresponds? Know what number like 3 corresponds with the color you request? I don't code. No idea why I'm here. I think that's a common. I think most people who do code probably would not want to spend their evenings watching this stream. That's a good question. So for the color codes, the ANSI color codes, those are standardized. So this is true in basically all X terminals. So if I want, so this is foreground colors, and this is background colors. And if you Google search for ANSI escape sequence color codes, you'll find this. You'll find a Wikipedia page that has this on it, and that is just a subset of them here. So that's when I want to just find a color. That's what I use. And in this function here, I just kind of arbitrarily decided, just make it look green if that area of the Boolean map has it on or not. Like the blue, black, whatever. I guess if I went away from this for like a few weeks and came back to it, I'd probably look at it and not remember anything about what it means. but it's not really like a general purpose use enough to bother making it like clear and understandable, because hopefully if all goes well, I'll work on these test cases and maybe I'll finish maybe I'll get this working 100% in like within a few days, and then I won't have to look at this again unless I break something. But in that case, I can just run the test cases and then turn my brain off, and as long as they pass, then we're good. So this is complaining that inconsistent change state inside the multi-column character at x equals 5. J equals 2. This does not look inconsistent to me. Oh, that's where it is. That is inconsistent. So that's why it takes so long for an old game to get an update. No one knows what they wrote down years ago. Yeah, that could be a big part of it. Sometimes it's also like you might not have the source code for it. And a lot of old games, like, they're probably proprietary. So even if you're the software developer, like if it's a software developer, like let's say you worked on Age of Empires or something, you might even know what the problem is, know how to fix it. But the source code is all property of Microsoft, so you can't just, when you leave, you don't take the source code with you. You're not supposed to. And if you like released a fix, now you're like distributing an illegal copy of it. You get sued massively. And of course, that's also, big reason. It's the amount of money you can get out of having a developer continue to maintain it is pretty low. But I guess Age of Empires is the exception case, because they did re-release a version of that, and they fixed all the bugs and stuff. So that's actually wrong. Or no, it's not. 6, 7. Oh, I need to. The best way to debug this is simplify the test case first. See red text. I am currently starting work on actually testing the multi-column of the testing merging multiple layers with the multi-column characters. So I think I got most of the code writing for the test cases and the implementation, and now it's just a matter of slowly expand out the parameters that set up the fuzz testing. Yeah, just keep going through a bunch of these. Find the minimal failing seeds. Fix them case by case. And then eventually I'll be able to run the tests. And it'll work perfectly. Although there's a lot more edge cases with the multi-column character merging, because there's all sorts of so I have in my super generic amazing merging function, I can have a layer. The layer can be arbitrary width and arbitrary height, and it can have an arbitrary position offset. So a consequence of that, so this is just 0 for now to simplify, but for example, I can take this, that's representing a 2-column character. So I could put that at a position 1 offset and then try to merge that down onto this, but it would go over the edge of the layer. And then there's the question, what should the correct implementation do? If you have a 2-column character and you're merging it down onto another layer, the base layer, and it doesn't fit, and the implementation I'm going to have is basically the character itself gets erased, the multi-column character, and the remaining characters are replaced with ASCII spaces, but the background color gets inherited from whatever the topmost layer with a background color set. That's what the background color is. Yeah, culling of, and that can happen on the right edge or left edge. And so there's just like in practice, I don't think that the model needs to be that solid for what I'm doing. But the thing is, if I want to fuzz test it, I'm going to have to bake that all into the fuzz testing. But it will, I guess. I have already run into a bunch of cases where there's just the UI will glitch because of that. And I figured it's a pretty fundamental aspect of the UI and the whole like thesis in general. So I might as well just do it once and do it correctly. How to maintain such a fast runtime, even without C and C++. It's a good question. Maintain a fast runtime. It depends what you're doing, and I don't know. I need more context for that question. Good evening. Hope all is well. Yes, things are progressing. I'm still. It's taking forever, but I'm grinding away at this every day. Make a little bit of forward progress. If you recorded your keyboard typing, you can double for an ASMR stream. Max productivity. Yeah, a lot of people already say it's already basically an ASMR stream. So we're already got that covered. What do you think about coffee? I think coffee's pretty good. I drink it every morning. 56360 says, "Sup, Robert and chat." Not too much, just grinding away at the terminal block mining game. So let's see, for this case, I have a layer 1 that just has the character H. And below it is a 2-column character. And the H is merged down onto it. And this is correct. But yeah, this looks like my algorithm is correct. So it's merging down onto that. And this column gets occluded. This column gets occluded. Hey dude, you close to dominating the world yet? Yep. I'm so close. I can taste it. Any day now. Someone's just gonna drop right in, and I'm gonna see a nice bright super chat there. It's gonna say $12 billion, which is exactly how much I need for the world domination project. Yep, it's definitely sick. That is wrong. If it's wrong, you didn't do it. I don't know. I gotta blame somebody. Let's see. Blame have a cast number? I don't think so. Not unless there's it's published. You could check on Sigma Aldrich, see if they have any, but I doubt it. All right, let's figure out why this don't work. That looks wrong. It's supposed to start at the top layer, not the bottom layer. Oh wait, no, that it is doing that. Oh, that's wrong. That should be S minus 1, not minus 1. Wow, look at that. That completely fixed a whole bunch of cases. So that one there, that's an easy one to fix. So that's a separate category. That's a severed character instead of an included character. But now I have a nice, handy data structure to check for that. But it's getting pretty late, so we made some decent progress tonight. I think I'll probably call it a night. Yeah, hopefully. I was trying to think how many more weird edge cases there are. So once I start adding like up to 5 layers with all kinds of random widths, there's probably going to be a ton more edge cases, but I guess we'll just keep grinding away at it, and optimistically within a few days I might have this whole test suite running. Alright, that's it for tonight. So we'll be back tomorrow for day 115. Alright, have a good night.